back to another episode of Medical Money, the podcast where we help you, healthcare professionals, learn finance and money. I'm Kirk Roberts. I'm an ER nurse, a financial educator, and licensed financial representative.
And I'm Ben Chandia, firefighter, advanced CMT, and also a licensed financial professional.
Guys, today our podcast is The Risk Prescription. We are here to help you understand risk and risk tolerance for finance. And so basically, let's just jump right into it. Now, even the word risk sounds intimidating, right?
Yeah, I mean, just the word sounds intimidating when we're here trying to, I don't want to lose my money. I mean, that's risky. I don't want to take on risk. Yeah,
right, for sure. So exactly. So whether you're even pushing meds for an ER patient or managing your 401k, there's risk. So the truth is you can't grow without it though. But there's ways to take a smart, calculated risks instead of just taking wild guesses and avoiding risk. A lot of people just try to avoid it. Remember how we talked about in the past about those human needs of certainty and stability, and there's also the uncertainty and variability. Well, a lot of people sometimes get left behind because they're not willing to take risk. So let's actually just define what is risk. Risk isn't some evil force out there going, oh, I'm going to get all your money, or I'm just going to take everything from you. It's just a possibility of things that won't go how you think they should go or how they're planned to go. And that's not just in life. I mean, that's finances, that's everywhere.
Hey, like you said earlier, we're dealing with risk at work on a daily basis. I mean, you could have risk with your patients. I mean, you have risk with, maybe the call doesn't go right. Maybe if you're another EMT like myself, you go into a building, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what's going to go on, right? Maybe you have a patient, heck, giving someone Tylenol is risky. If you're not watching their liver or, their liver functions, things like that, that's risk. It's everywhere.
Driving your car, getting on a plane. I mean, there's risk involved everywhere. And so guys, let's just define risk. It's defined as exposing someone or something of value to either danger, harm, or loss. But nothing in this life comes without a little bit of risk. And even doing nothing is a risk. Okay. So in finance, risk refers to the degree of uncertainty and potential financial loss that can be made while investing or savings or a transaction. There's always a chance you might lose money, right? There's also the chance that you could gain a lot more than you were actually putting into. And we talked in the previous podcast about putting your money into a savings account and the interest you earn there versus putting things into the market, or having a plan and not having a plan and just winging it. That's risky, right? So,
God, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, just what you said, doing nothing, that's risky. I mean, it's pretty crazy. That hit me hard.
Well, and you think about people, when people say, I want something that's safe. And we talked about it. Where do they go with their money? To the banks. And they're going to go to the banks and put their money. And Ben talked about it before. Yeah, we use banks on a daily basis. Yeah, we use banks to do daily transactions. But is that really the place where you're going to have growth and potential income? That's risky, not being able to provide for your future and provide for your future in retirement. So yeah, I just don't think people talk about risk enough.
Yeah. All right. So let's break this idea of risk tolerance. Okay. We're going to start getting into risk tolerance. And what does this even mean? This is where a lot of people get tripped up, Kurt.
100%. And risk tolerance really is how much of a financial roller coaster, the ups and downs, are you willing to handle before you start sweating bullets? Like say if the market goes down, are you going to be losing sleep over this? So I would say you have a low tolerance for risk. How many people started freaking out when Trump said tariff? All of a sudden, just everyone, the markets went down. Oh dear God, we're dying. Everyone just started freaking out, right? And so, but can you really ride out those ups and downs? And Ben actually mentioned in the last podcast we had when we talked about interest, the S&P 500 has averaged 10% over 100 years. What's happened in 100 years? Well, let's see, the Greatest Depression in the United States in 1929, another depression in 2008. So there are changes.
And throw in a couple wars there, or a pandemic, or assassinations, or whatever the case is. the last 100 years have been quite the roller coaster, Kurt. It's crazy what's happened, and yet still the S&P has averaged that 10%.
Right, and we look at it too, and what we're talking about, he said wars and all this. Well, and what about your age? You know, like, as someone who's older, I mean, Ben's obviously a lot younger than me.
That's the thing, is that this risk tolerance, it's not fixed. Okay, that it should be something that you take a step back and you look at the overall picture. Okay, and some things that you need to look at are, one, like you said, what's your age? Okay, what's the timeline? Okay, and for the goal, okay, that's the third thing, is age, timeline, goal. Okay, what are we shooting for? Are we trying to buy a new boat? Are we going for retirement? Are we saving for kids' college? Whatever the case is, you have to have a goal. Okay, and it has to be a clear, defined goal on what you're aiming for. Okay, but really, that's where a lot of people get tripped up, and a lot of this, let me put it this way: a lot of us in healthcare, we've been on traumas. Okay, we've seen traumas. I mean, it's kind of the name of the game, right? Trauma has a very negative effect on us psychologically. Okay, whether we like it or not. Okay, whether you like it or not, have money trauma. Okay, maybe that's having a overdraft payment, or maybe it's sweating bullets that you're living paycheck to paycheck, or the debt collectors come, or whatever the case is, you have that money trauma, and that is also going to affect your money tolerance, or your risk tolerance, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, healthcare professionals, we really have a lot of baggage around this. I mean, a lot of us, how much money have we invested and time into our careers? And now we have all this baggage on us. And remember how we talked again, like I said before, about that whole certainty, uncertainty, and the need for money. But we actually like to play it safe. We want things to be in a nice little comfort zone. And so we kind of end up, avoiding risk. But once again, you can't have growth without risk. Yep. So here's the danger of it all, guys, is avoiding risk does not make you safe. As a matter of fact, it helps, you can miss opportunities.
Oh, yeah. No, you can definitely miss a lot of opportunities. I mean, say you have $50,000, right? $50,000 cash, and you want to keep it as safe as possible. You put it under a mattress. Okay, no one's going to know where it's at. It's safe. It's there. It's not being touched, right? It's not getting close to the market. It's just under the mattress and nice and safe. Okay, guess what? There's a thing called inflation. Okay, I'm sure we've all heard about inflation, right? And on average, inflation has gone anywhere from 3 to 3.5%. Okay, again, that's an average, right? Last couple of years, kind of a little crazy, okay, a little awkward, but on average, it's been about 3%. You keep that $50,000 under your mattress, and inflation is going on its own, whether you like it or not. Okay, this gap right here, that's money you're losing out on. Okay, that's purchasing power. Okay, that $50,000 isn't worth the same amount as what it could have been. Okay, and that's just inflation, just dealing with that.
Right. So meanwhile, someone else invests that $50,000 steadily into an index fund, and so now they can have over $200,000 or more, depending on that market. I mean, isn't that a massive difference? So just from not being afraid of the ups and downs. And so let's take a look at now. How do you figure out your own personal risk tolerance?
Yeah. So one big thing is a mind shift. Okay, we've talked a lot about mindset shifts. You have to start small. Okay, don't put everything into the market tomorrow. Okay, I know we've talked about the S&P, 10%, 100 years. We've said all this stuff, right? Don't put everything in all at once. Okay, start small. Build those habits. Okay, when you build a habit, that's when things really start to change for the long run. Okay. So start small. Try dollar cost averaging. Okay, that's where you have a set amount that you're investing every single time. Okay, whether that's a monthly basis, quarterly basis, whatever the case is, you're having a set amount put into an investment. Okay,
and we'll definitely be doing a whole podcast specifically on dollar cost averaging, because it's a huge topic in investing of how people can actually take care of the markets. So even just couple of quick reflection questions on, like, maybe your own personal risk tolerance. How do I react when I hear that the stock market or the markets are dropping? How do I feel about that? You might be like, don't care. It's probably because you don't have any money investing. Secondly, what are my financial goals and what's my timeline? I mean, obviously I said Ben's younger, I'm a little bit older. Are our time frames the same? Probably not. So we need to be looking at, so what's your financial goals and your timelines, like you said? And could I afford a temporary loss? Would I be okay if I lost some money? And I'll let you guys know right now, I've lost a lot of money. I've made some financial decisions in my past, real estate, cryptocurrency. I've lost a ton of cash. But once again, what's my risk tolerance to that? Am I able to recover those costs? Can I make some more money? Can I have my money making money for me? Remember that doubling period we were talking about? 72 divided by the interest you earn on your money. How many doubling periods do I have? That could affect my risk tolerance, right? So education actually kind of reduces fear, guys. I mean,
and Kirk, those experiences that you had, that's part of that emotional or that money trauma that we were talking about, okay? But you didn't stop investing, right? Even though you lost some money or things didn't go as planned, you now learn from those experiences, so you know not to make those mistakes again, right? So,
and really, there's some strategies you can actually do, like even right now. Regardless of your risk tolerance, there's some things you can do right now just to even get set up in the whole world of investing and saving. Like an example, the first one that I would say, and we're going to go over this in a future podcast, talking about your financial house and how to build a foundation and whatnot. But some things you can do even right now, like just right now. Do you have an emergency fund? Do you have like a little safety net? And that little safety net is, rather than if something happens, and it will happen, Murphy's Law, is something's going to happen. How are you going to cover that? Most people, their direct answer, credit cards, right? They'll go directly to the credit card to pay for whatever emergency. So you should have an emergency fund. That's something you can set up now. Also, you want to diversify yourself. You don't want to put just everything in one basket. We're not going to put I'm putting everything in the Tesla stock. Dear God, let it go up. You don't want to be you want to be able to have a diversification, and that's where that plan comes into effect. But that's also something you can start thinking about now, is how can I start diversifying myself and not putting everything away into one thing? And then also you can match your investments with your goal and your time frame. This is what Ben was talking about before. You gotta have a plan. You gotta have a plan of where you're gonna go, how you're gonna get there. Like right now, I know my wife, she drives all over the place, and she uses Waze as I'm not soliciting for him, but it's an amazing app. But she uses Waze to go everywhere. It saves time, effort, where's the police, all these kind of things. It's a way to get there. Before, if you don't have a plan, how do you know how to get to places, right? I mean, so if she actually has to go to an appointment somewhere, she punches in the number and she has a plan on how to get there. A financial plan is essential for you to actually understand where you're going and how you're going to get there.
And the other thing too is get help. Like I'm the first to, I'm not going to lie. It's really hard for me to ask for help from people. But honestly, when it comes to something as important as money, get some help. I mean, I'm not going to fight. If I had cancer, I'm not going to fight it on my own. Right? I have to get help, whether I like it or not. Otherwise, I'm dead. Right? Same thing with your guys' money. Okay, get some help. That's why it's so important to find a licensed financial representative who has that experience, who has credibility, who knows what's going on, and can help you with not only that mindset shift, but also your perspective on things. Okay, because if you look at things a little bit differently, like what we've been talking about in these episodes, that's where the real magic happens. Okay, and if you guys want to send us any questions, or if you need a personalized financial game plan, please send us a request or write us an email at medicalmoneycash@gmail.com. Okay, that'll come right to us. Be more than happy to sit down with you, look at your specifics, and see what your plan is like. Okay, if anything, give you a second opinion on things.
Yeah. And guys, once again, asking for help. Isn't that what the healthcare world is all about? People are looking for healthcare concerns. They come to the emergency room. They're calling 911. They're doing those things because they're looking for help. You too can look for help. And to bring this a little bit sooner is, do people go to the hospitals and go to their doctor and go like, they trust that their doctor knows what they're doing and their nurse knows what they're doing and the EMTs and the paramedics know what they're doing and they're licensed to do what they do? You need to be with a licensed financial representative to get the help that you need, right? So once, like you said before, medicalmoneycash@gmail.com. If you want help and assistance, we're here to help you. So let's just wrap this up. Risk is a part of life, and it's also part of money. And avoiding risk is actually a bigger danger to you. So understand your own risk tolerance. and use the right tools to manage risk and not just run from it.
Yeah. No, and also, making sure that, the wealthy aren't just saving their money, right? You have to take on a little bit of risk, okay? Wealthy, they take risk. I mean, you look at some of the biggest billionaires, and heck, their portfolios have gone down, right? As of, time of this recording, things are down, right? It is what it is. That's part of that risk. Things aren't going as planned on, one way or another, okay? But you ride that roller coaster and really just enjoy the ride. Don't be scared. Because if you're scared and you're letting fear take over, you're never going to get ahead.
So guys, you can actually email us at medicalmoneycash@gmail.com. Let us know what your risk tolerance is. Let us know how you feel about this. And if this has actually been something that helped you, share with other people, subscribe, share, like I said, share this podcast with other people. And like I said, you guys are healthier professionals and you're saving lives, but who's helping you save your finances? Does this make sense? Or does this make dollars, guys? So we're here to help you. Let's get out there, learn your risk tolerance, get some interest making for you. We'll talk to you guys on the next podcast.
Have a good one.
I'm looking for a man in finance, the trust fund. 6'5", blue eyes. Finance, trust fund. 6'5", I'm looking for a man in finance, the trust fund.